Welcome, learner, to your streamlined deep dive for Fantasy Premier League, focusing right in on Game Week 37. You've handed us the FPL intel, and, well, our mission's pretty clear, isn't it?
Yeah, cut through the noise for this massive penultimate game week.
Exactly. Captaincy, transfers, those tempting differentials. We're getting straight to what you need, learner, to hopefully get that edge.
Right. No messing about. Your goal is efficiency, making smart calls without drowning in info. We've looked at all the usual suspects. Let's talk FPL, who got the assist, FML, FPL Scout, the FPL Wire, above average, FPL Optimized, plus the official site, news updates.
All the good stuff. Okay, let's jump straight in then. Game Week 37, the captaincy. It feels like there isn't one single name everyone's rallying behind this time.
No, definitely feels more spread out. The chatter online, it points towards a few different options, not one dominant pick.
And the two main names popping up again and again seem to be Ollie Watkins and Cole Palmer.
That's right. Watkins at Villa, Palmer at Chelsea. They're really front and center in most of the captaincy discussions we've seen.
And it makes sense, right? Villa, Chelsea, they're both still properly fighting for those Champions League places. Loads to play for.
Precisely. The motivation factor is huge. And, they're facing teams, Man United and Spurs, who have those big European finals just around the corner.
Which could mean distractions, maybe rotation.
Potentially, yeah. It throws another variable into the mix. Does their focus slip a bit? Do they rest key players? It's a factor.
So with Watkins and Palmer, Watkins is the popular guy. Lots of transfers coming in for him.
He is. Very highly owned. Lots of managers bringing him in. Palmer, though, he's got that lower ownership. So he's the differential angle.
High reward, maybe, if Watkins doesn't fire and Palmer does.
Exactly. It's that classic FPL dilemma, isn't it? Play it safe with the crowd or back the differential for potentially bigger gains. It really depends on your situation, learner.
In those European finals, Europa League, Conference League, they're not small games for United and Spurs.
No way. Major priorities. So yeah, the risk of rotation or just players maybe not being 100% mentally focused on the league game, it's definitely something to consider.
Okay, and quickly, that FA Cup final, City versus Palace, that's before their Tuesday league games, right?
Yes, which makes predicting minutes for players from those two teams pretty tricky for Game Week 37 itself.
A bit of a lottery then? Pep roulette, Glasner rotation.
Yeah.
Probably best to be cautious there.
I'd say so. The turnaround is really quick. High chance of squad management makes those assets feel a bit risky for this specific game week.
So the big picture seems to be target players, target teams who definitely still have something concrete to fight for. That motivation could be key.
Agreed. Champions League, Europe, even staying up. That desire often translates into performance, especially at this stage.
Right, let's get into those captaincy candidates properly. Ollie Watkins, Villa have Spurs at home, then United away.
And that Spurs fixture.
Wow.
Their defense lately.
He's leaky, isn't it? I saw a stat, 16 goals conceded in their last 7 league games. That's quite something.
It really is. League high, apparently. That just screams opportunity for an attacker like Watkins, especially at Villa Park.
And you add in the potential for Spurs rotation because of the Europa League final, it looks even better on paper.
Plus, Watkins himself, 16 goals, 7 assists. He's been fantastic this season. And as you said, tons of managers are backing him with transfers.
And Villa need the points. Champions League is massive for them. You'd expect Watkins to be right in the thick of it.
Absolutely central to their plans, you'd think. Okay, now, Cole Palmer. Chelsea versus Manchester United at the Bridge.
United's defense. It's looking a bit shaky recently.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. 6 goals shipped in their last 2 games. Apparently conceded 10 big chances in that spell, too.
No.
That's not great, is it?
Not ideal facing someone like Palmer. And again, that lower ownership makes him tempting if you're chasing rank.
It really does. That differential appeal is strong. A haul from him could make a huge difference to your week, learner.
Is there a slight concern, though? I saw some mentions about Chelsea maybe not being quite as fluid going forward if Jackson's out.
Yeah, that's a fair point raised in some discussions. Jackson's presence, his runs, they do seem to help open things up. Something to maybe keep an eye on with the team news.
Okay. Mo Salah. Liverpool away at Brighton. Feels like an old, reliable captain pick.
Historically, yes. And Brighton, well, they haven't kept many clean sheets at home recently. Only 1 in the last 9, I think.
So, opportunity there for Salah?
Theoretically, yes.
Yeah.
But, and it's a big but, are Liverpool kind of, on the beach now?
Yeah, Champions League is sorted. Job done, really. Does the intensity drop?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's clearly dividing opinion. We're seeing debates about whether it's actually time to sell Salah to fund someone like Watkins, who has clear motivation.
Interesting dilemma. Okay, one more captain shout mentioned is Bryan Mbeumo, Brentford at home to Fulham.
Yeah, a bit more of a differential punt, this one. The angle seems to be Fulham's weakness defending set pieces.
Ah, and Mbeumo is often on those for Brentford, right? Corners, free kicks.
Exactly. So if Brentford can exploit that weakness, he could be involved. Plus, Brentford have actually been scoring fairly well at home recently.
So a calculated risk there if you fancy going against the grain. Okay, let's talk transfers then. Obviously, Watkins and Palmer are prime transfer targets too.
For sure. But looking beyond them, there's a bit of sentimental interest in Jamie Vardy.
Yeah.
Leicester at home to Ipswich. His last game at the King Power.
Yeah. Won't play in 38 though, so it's purely a one-week punt, maybe for the story.
Pretty much. Then there's Yohan Wissa at Brentford. Blanked last week, but still popular, probably because of that Fulham fixture.
Right. And Beto at Everton. Facing Southampton at home, he's the third most bought forward.
Yeah, Everton have looked better. Southampton's defense has been poor. It makes sense on paper. Good fixture.
Chris Wood scored for Forest. They play Burnley at home. Some interest there, too.
Some, yeah, but maybe more of a short-term fix than anything else. Long-term appeal seems limited.
And Marmish, I saw mentions of him. Maybe Brentford. Ownership dropping after being benched, but maybe some minutes coming.
Possibly one for GW38 watch lists, perhaps.
Yeah.
Pep apparently made some comments suggesting minutes, but who knows for sure.
Okay, midfielders. Palmer, Mbeumo. We've covered them. Ebereki Eze. Pals are home to Wolves. Good form, but...
But that FA Cup rotation risk hangs over him, doesn't it? Big time.
Definitely. Morgan Rogers at Villa. He's looked lively recently.
He has, yeah. Good form, good fixtures against Spurs and United. Could be a decent shout.
KDB City home to Bournemouth. His last home game. But again, the FA Cup factor.
Huge risk with minutes. Tempting, because it's KDB against Bournemouth, but very risky.
Saka. Arsenal have Newcastle at home, then Southampton away in 38. People looking ahead to that Saints game.
Seems likely, yeah. That GW38 fixture looks very appealing, so maybe getting him in now makes sense for some.
Any other midfield differentials? Someone called Sharda at Brentford mentioned.
Yeah, popped up in a few places. Been performing quite well under the radar, apparently.
Yeah.
A deeper differential for sure.
Right, defense. Clean sheets look possible for Everton against Southampton. Mykolenko and Branthwaite getting attention?
Definitely. Good home fixture against a struggling attack. Both seem solid options if you need a defender.
Daniel Munoz at Palace. Attacking threat from wingback, but...
Same FA Cup rotation risk as Eze. You just don't know if he starts.
Vardiol at City. Expected to play against Bournemouth at home.
Seems to be the expectation, yeah. Offers that City clean sheet potential, maybe some attacking threat too.
And Emi Martinez. Villa facing Spurs. Clean sheet potential there too.
Could be. Spurs can score, obviously, but Villa are usually solid at home, and Spurs have looked vulnerable. Martinez is a good keeper.
Okay, team news wrap-up. We know Spurs and United have Europe on their minds. Strong teams likely, but maybe not full strength or full focus.
Yeah, Postecoglou and Amorim will say the right things, but you have to think those finals are a factor. Villa, though.
Villa should be full strength, full motivation for the Champions League push. Minus Ramsey suspended and maybe Tielemans and Marcus injured.
Right. Chelsea. Looks like Mudryk might be banned. You still out, but Chilwell's okay after being ill.
Good news on Son for Spurs managers. Looks like he's fit. Whether he starts? Well, that's another question.
Brentford get Udger back, which helps their defense, but still missing De Silva, Carvalho, Janelle for the season.
And Palace. Well, we've said enough. FA Cup final, rotation risk central. Very hard to predict their lineup.
Yeah, massive uncertainty there.
So, learner, putting it all together, strategy-wise, it comes down to your own situation, doesn't it? Chasing points or protecting a lead?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you in a position where you need to take risks with differentials, maybe even take a hit or two? Or can you afford to play it safer, cover the popular picks?
And using the bench boost this week sounds like a bad idea.
Generally, yes. The consensus across the sources we looked at was avoid it. Too much uncertainty, especially with City and Palace players potentially getting 0 minutes after the Cup final. High risk of points left on your bench.
Taking hits for transfers, always a gamble. Gotta weigh that -4 against the potential points gain.
Yeah, it's a calculated risk. Does the player you're bringing in feel that much better than the one you're taking out? Enough to cover the cost and then some. Needs careful thought.
But the core advice seems solid. Focus on players, focus on teams that have clear, tangible motivation in these last couple of games.
That feels like the most logical approach, yeah. Motivation often drives performance this stage.
Okay, learner, let's try and wrap this up. We've cut straight to the chase. The key captaincy calls, the transfer targets buzzing around, and those potential rotation landmines for Game Week 37.
Yeah, hopefully that's giving you a clear picture. Now, this is where your FPL context really matters, learner. Are you chasing? Need that differential captain, like Palmer, maybe?
Or are you sitting pretty, wanting to protect your rank with someone safer like Watkins? How much risk are you willing to stomach with those FA Cup rotation worries?
And, which stories appeal to you? The desperate fight at the bottom, the glamour chase for the Champions League. Sometimes you got to go with your gut feeling, too.
So what's it all mean for your Game Week 37? Hopefully this deep dive has armed you with what you need to make those calls confidently without feeling totally overwhelmed.
Right. And maybe just one final thought to chew on before you lock in that team. With all the focus on the big names, the European finalists, the FA Cup teams, could the really big unexpected points haul this week come from somewhere else entirely?
Ooh, like a less glamorous fixture, maybe a team with nothing obvious to play for, playing with freedom.
Exactly. Could a player in one of those games surprise everyone? Something to mull over before that Friday deadline, perhaps.
Yeah.
Potential wild card.
FPL update, it's the time to play. Set your lineup, don't delay.